Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Gracia Dari. My NPM 1901030046. Now, I want to explain about sentence pattern.
Yeah.
First, transitive, or it must not follow it by noun. We can get the meaning of the sentence. For example, I lie and I cry. 2. Intransitive verb, or can follow it by noun or not. We can get the meaning of the sentence. For example, they run and they eat. Non-action, to be or linking verb. To be, since, sound, became. 3. Object is a person indicative verb that receives the action of the subject, atau sesuatu yang dikenakan pekerjaan. For example, I buy a book. Subject, I buy a book. I di sini sebagai subjek, buy sebagai predicate, a book sebagai objek. Indirect object, DO, objek yang dikenakan pekerjaan secara langsung, dan direct object receives the action of the sentence. The direct object is usually a noun, pronoun. For example, the man builds a house. The man sebagai subjek, build sebagai predicate, a house sebagai direct object. 2. The indirect object or EO. Objek yang dikenakan pekerjaan secara tidak langsung. For example, the man builds his family a house. The man di sini sebagai subjek, build sebagai predicate, his family sebagai indirect object. A house di sini sebagai direct object. 4. Adverb or a word or phrase that modifies or qualities, or an adjective, verb, or other adverb expressing a relation of place, time, manner, cause, frequency, reason. In Indonesia, adverb is kata keterangan untuk memberikan keterangan tentang sentence tersebut. An adverb can be placed everywhere. 5. Complement as a word of praise that have a function to complete the meaning of subject, verb, or object. Subject complement that can be a noun or adjective to complete the meaning of the subject.
3.
Object complement that can be a noun or pronoun to complete the meaning of subject. From the element of the sentence, we can get 6 patterns. First, SP atau yang disebut sebagai subject predicate. The pattern must be followed by intransitive verb. For example, I lie. I di sini sebagai subjek, lie sebagai predicate. We get the meaning of this sentence even without noun, yang berarti saya berbohong. 2. Subject, predicate, object. For example, I buy a new car. I sebagai subjek, buy sebagai predicate, a new car sebagai objek. 3. Subject, predicate, indirect object, direct object. For example, we chose Grace. We sebagai subjek, chose sebagai predicate, Grace sebagai indirect object. 4. Subject, predicate, direct object, and indirect object. For example, I give flower to her. I sebagai subjek, give sebagai predicate, flower sebagai direct object, to her sebagai indirect object. 5. Subject, predicate, subject complement. Example, they are my classmates. They sebagai subjek, are sebagai predicate, my classmates sebagai subjek complement. 6. Subject, predicate, object, indirect object. Example, my father called me baby girl. My father sini sebagai subjek, called sebagai predicate, me sebagai objek, baby girl sebagai object complement. So, that is the pattern from sentence even of sentence. A dependent clause is a group or word that contains a subject and verb but does not express a complete thought. A dependent clause cannot be a sentence. Example, she don't know where she means to share it. Dari kata I don't know itu, kita sudah memahami bahwa si dia tidak tahu, berarti itu adalah independent clause. Bahwa si independent clause. Sedangkan where I want to share it, kita tidak tahu kejelasannya. Sedangkan clause yang tidak lengkap disebut sebagai subordinate clause. There are three types of dependent clause. First, noun clause. A noun clause is an entire clause which take the place of a noun in another clause or phrase. 2. Adjective clause. An adjective clause is a dependent clause which takes the place of an adjective in another clause or phrase. 3. Adverb clause. An adverb clause is dependent clause which take a place an adverb another clause or phrase. Adverb clause is divided by 9 classification. Adverb clause of time, of place, purpose, reason, condition, clause. Comparison, supposition, conclusion, restriction. Let's go to another material. Next is about praise. Praise is a group of words that express a concept and is used as unit within a sentence. There are 5 praise types. First, noun praise, for example, the young boy. Main word, noun boy. 2. Verb praise. Example, has been stolen. Main word, verb stolen. Adjective praise. Very greedy. Main word. Adjective greedy. Adverb praise. To quickly. Main word. Adverb quickly. Proportional. Next is about clause. Clause is a collection of grammatically related words including its predicate and a subject. So something the subject is implied atau tersirat. Clause divided by 2 types. First, independent clause and independent clause. Independent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and verb and express a complete thought. An independent clause is a sentence. So, we are everything to the topics that's descriptive text. Descriptive text is a text describe something like people, things, and other. So, let's analyze the sentence pattern of the text. For example, Sarah is my best friend. Sarah di sini sebagai subjek, is sebagai predicate, my best friend sebagai objek. She is my classmate. She di sini sebagai subjek, is sebagai predicate, my classmate sebagai subject complement. She is a clever woman. She di sini sebagai subjek, is sebagai predicate, a clever woman sebagai subjek komplement. She is a diligent. She di sini sebagai subjek, is sebagai predicate, a diligent sebagai subjek komplement. She come to school. She di sini sebagai subjek, come sebagai predicate, to school sebagai objek. Every year, our classmate. Every year di sini sebagai adverb of time, our classmates sebagai subjek. Chose Rina as a chair lady. Chose di sini sebagai predicate, Rina sebagai subjek, a chair lady sebagai direct object. So, that is the analyze test for descriptive text. A dependent clause is one that can be sentenced. On its own, it needs an independent clause to make sense. Example, but could fly, or doesn't make sense on its own. But when you add this independent clause like the bird flap its wings, it's creative complete sentence to make sense. For compound complex sentence. For compound complex sentence contains two independent clause and dependent clause. For example, while Rina doing her laundry pajamas is reading the novel and Lucky is drawing the comic book. First, the meaning of sentence pattern. Sentence pattern is an arrangement of words. This arrangement needs to be in a grammatically correct structure. It means the placement of verb and noun should be correct to form a meaning sentence. In Indonesia, we know that sentence pattern is pola kalimat. 2 elements of sentence. First, subject. The subject of a sentence is the person, place, or things that is performing the action of the sentence. Subjek berarti pelaku di dalam kalimat tersebut. Yang kedua, predicate. Predicate is express action or being within the sentence atau sesuatu atau tindakan yang dilakukan oleh subjek. Predicate is separate by two types. For first, action predicate. Transitive, or it must be followed by nouns so we can get the meaning of the sentence. Example, I bought a book. I di sini sebagai subjek, book sebagai predicate, a book sebagai objek. Yang kedua, I make a handcraft. I di sini sebagai subjek, make sebagai predicate, a handcraft sebagai objek. Okay, now let's go to the text material about kind of sentence contain clause. There are a simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence. A simple sentence is a group of words that contains thought. For example, I went swimming today. This is a sentence because it is a wild thought. First, simple sentence. A sentence contains only one independent clause whose word thought. Example, I went to the park. 2. Compound sentence. Compound sentence contain two independent closer ideas. Example: I went to the park as I saw a dog. Two independent clauses are I went to the park and I saw a dog. Or this sentence join and with a conjunction. And 3. Complex sentence. Complex sentence contain at least one independent clause and one dependent clause. Example: I went to the park, an independent clause, running all the way, dependent clause. Thank you and God bless you.